League fans! My name's Steve Mascord, and this is our first show of the week. This is our breakfast show here on rugbyleague.com. And I hope you had a good weekend. The previous week was a long weekend for everybody, all the normies, all the civilians. But for me, I was at Magic Weekend, and then I came back here. It was just another Monday. When you work from home, any day can be a weekend, and any day can be a work day. Unfortunately, it's more of the latter, actually. So didn't do much yesterday. Went to the Broncos on Sunday, London Broncos. This show comes to you from beautiful, and I can say truthfully, sunny London. And on Sunday, I went to the Broncos, and for the first time, I wasn't working. So I had a few beers, and one thing turned into another, and the end result was that I didn't get much done yesterday. But we've got a great show coming up today. We're going to replay that interview with Shaun Wane that we did on Friday night, the England coach, or Friday morning UK time, about this time of the day it was actually. And he said some really interesting stuff about the absence of training camps this year. There's not going to be any, and he's pretty disappointed in that. And also AJ Brimson's decision to make himself available for England. So towards the back end of this hour, you'll hear that Shaun Wane interview again. We're also going to hear from Jye Gray, his media op, which was at Souths, which was just in the last few hours. I've cut that up a little bit. You have listened to that, particularly his comments about Brandon Smith perhaps joining South Sydney. But we normally start the show, if you're new, this is how we start off. We start with rugby league birthdays. And the first one I've got here fascinated me. David Brown, born 1886, died 1910. So he's an Aussie, so that's only 2 years into the game's history in Australia. And I thought, it's not the Dave Brown, the centre, who's scored all those points for East. So I looked it up, and we're on full credit to Rugby League Project. I looked up David Brown to find out a little bit about him. It says, born in 1886 in Sydney, Brown found himself in Eastern Suburbs first grade rugby union side in 1906, aged just 20. He played alongside two men who would go on to be Hall of Famers at opposite ends of the world, Dahlia Messenger and Albert Rosenfeld. He said Brown was a utility back. However, he was most prominently a centre who played at 5'8" and on the wing. After finally making the grade in 1906, Brown made the bold move for a young player to align himself with the professional code. He lined up for New South Wales in their second and third games against the touring New Zealand professional side in 1907. So he toured, he played against the All Golds, leading him to being banned for life from rugby union, as everyone was at the time. He was one of the first players on hand to join Eastern Suburbs Rugby League Club upon its formation in January 24, 1908. He played in the club's first premiership match on April 20, 1908 against Newtown, and also scored a try. He then played in a possibles versus probables match, and a month later was in the New South Wales side that took on the visiting Maoris. Finished the season with East, playing in the first ever premiership decider. East were unable to topple Souths, losing 14-12. So he played in 1909 for East. He made the New South Wales team, and he was played against New Zealand, and played two more games for New South Wales. And then he got selected in an Australian side for 3 games against the Maori. At the end of 1909, he lined up in 2 games for the Kangaroos in their controversial series against the Wallabies. There's a big one, right? Okay, I'm going to go over his... Anyway, this is what he did next. Brown then made the journey over to England, leaving behind a pregnant wife and 2 young children in the hope of earning big money playing in the Northern Union. Upon arriving, he advertised himself as having played for Australia, but given the games against the Maori were not recognised, and assumingly also the games against the Wallabies were not recognised as official international fixtures, people thought he had lied in order to get an offer. He got himself a job on the docks, and then he got signed by Barrow, but he played just 11 games and returned home. When he returned home, he found his wife had given birth to their child. She got pregnant again. He played in one final game for East in 1910 before retiring at just 24. On Christmas Eve 1910, he was working as a railway porter at Homebush Railway Station, attending to the lights, when he had an accident and fell into a passing train, suffering a multitude of injuries. He was taken to Royal Prince Alfred Hospital but died shortly after admission. His mother wrote a letter to the Barrow Club informing them of the tragic news. In that letter, she described him as a troubled boy. His fourth child was born the following year. What a sad story. So, happy birthday to David Brown. At least all these years later, he's remembered by the people, the community that he graced for only a couple of years, the rugby league community. So happy birthday to David Brown. Sad story. Also birthday today, Jack Regan, who we lost in 1991. Scrolling down. Dougie Lawton, who we lost just this year. He was born in 1944. One of my favourites, Michael Carberry, second rower for Souths and the Steelers. 64 today. Happy birthday, Carbs. I can call you that. I don't really know you very well, but I'll call you Carbs. Didier Kabastani, which is shocking because I think he was born the same year as me and he died in 2020. Very sad. The French forward. Mark Shipway, a Cowboys great, also played for Salford, also played for Northern Eagles and Manly. He's 49 today. Happy birthday, Mark. Michael Monaghan played a lot of rugby league on both sides of the globe. Canberra, Manly, Warrington. 45 today. Happy birthday, Michael. And who else have we got here? Josh Papali, Australia, Samoa, Queensland, PM's 13, Canberra. Papa is Papali'i now, we pronounce it, sorry. He's 33 today, still going strong. And a fella who scored a try in the Challenge Cup semi, Remus Smith. John Davidson, if you're listening, only one S in Remus. We keep making that mistake. Okay, after the break, we'll be back with, we're going to talk about what's in the news. What's in the news? That's coming up after this break. Love those player introductions. If you wonder how we got them, I just went around to media days and asked players their favourite band and their favourite rock band, a favourite song by any rock band. And, a lot of them don't get used because I don't program the station as far as the music's concerned, and the players don't dictate what's played on here. It's done by someone who has done that for a living for decades. So there's a lot of player IDs and player intros to songs in the system waiting for that song to be added. In the hope there's like 3 times as many player song intros as you hear in the system, just in the off chance that the song will be programmed at some point in the future. But I love hearing them. I think later in this hour, Zach Wolford talking about AC/DC's coming up. Anyway, so I put the call out on Twitter, and rugbyleague.com is on Twitter at rugbyleague.com. What do you want to talk about? And I got a doozy here because I kind of was aware of it, but it brought it to my attention. Karate Warrior 2 says a senior. This is a clipping he sent me. A senior NRL journalist was pulled off Channel 9's 100% Footy show on Monday night at the request of Parramatta star Mitchell Moses and his manager Isaac Moses. This masthead can reveal Nine Entertainment's top rugby league reporter Michael Chammas was told he could not fill his regular spot on the show after a threat by the Moses camp not to appear. Now, I'm taking that at face value. So someone could, there may well be a counter argument that did not happen, and that's not the reason Michael Chammas did not appear on 100% Footy. Okay, but if it is true, it's beyond concerning to me because here's a guy who's on the show every week and who's on your payroll, and you are sacrificing him for a guy who's getting paid a few grand to appear, and at the request of that guy's agent. The suggestion, the strong implication is that there's no editorial independence on a program that would do that. I mean, I remember when I was at the Herald at one point and the ARL said they wanted me to go to PNG with the Prime Minister's 13, and the correct response from the Herald was that you don't decide our staffing. You don't decide who we put on certain assignments. And I didn't get to go to New Guinea, but I completely support, that position, even though I love a trip, as everyone knows. But it's beyond the pale. It's the wrong decision. It sends the wrong message. And and people are saying, Isaac Moses, runs rugby league clubs, and it's one of the biggest problems for the game. Well, the suggestion from this, if it's true, and I hasten to add if it's true, is that he also runs the media outlets as well. Just before the start of the program, I was talking online to the fellas from the Everything Rugby League podcast, which I thoroughly recommend. They just had Troy Grant on, so I'm looking forward to listening to that, and I advise you to go and your favourite podcast provider and have a listen to their interview with Troy Grant. Even though I haven't heard it yet, I know it'll be good. That's why I can recommend it without having heard it. But we have got, I was going to explain to them, and I'll explain to you now. We've changed the format a few times in rugbyleague.com in the kind of, well, we've been going now for about 18 months, I guess. And not 18. No, not 18. Maybe 14, something like that. And we've changed the format a few times. We've had all podcasts with no music. We've had no podcasts and only music. We've had podcasts cut up into 5-minute blocks, and then basically filling the role that I'm now filling as a voice link between the songs. We've done that. What we're doing now is, and this I think it's important when we get to this point of our maturity, where we are generating a lot of our own content. And, the great Jason Costigan's calling matches. He'll be calling the whole KR game this Saturday. Is that we now focus on producing more of our own original content, which means that the podcasts are still available on the podcast tab on rugbyleague.com. But for the time being, aside from 40-20 Live, which is, as it says on the 10 Live, on a Monday night, you would have heard it last night, 6 o'clock, we're removing the external podcast from the on-air schedule completely. And then the plan is to reintroduce them without music. So we'll be reintroducing another show for June, and then another, and then that will stay, then another one for July, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the focus for us right now is to do what I'm doing now, which is talking directly to you with content that is exclusive. So I hope that explains what we're up to. Now, it is Tuesday, and that means Teams Tuesday in the NRL. The round begins on Friday with the Women's State of Origin on Thursday night. So that is Newcastle and Parramatta on Friday night. Greg Marzu out with a knee injury for the Knights. Leo Thompson has a concussion. He's out as well. Adam Elliott joins the starting side. What else is happening? Parramatta, Zach Lomax does get to play. He has just one game to press for New South Wales inclusion. What else is happening? Canterbury are also playing the Roosters, who were in the news yesterday through Trent Robinson having a shot at the aforementioned Newcastle Knights. Jamin Salmon, we know, is out for 10 weeks now. His replacement in the Bulldogs side is Harry Hayes, and they've got a debutant on the bench in Luke Smith. Lindsay Collins is back to the Roosters side, and like Zach Lomax, he's got one game to press for inclusion for the State of Origin. Dom Young is on the reserves list, so we don't know what involvement he's going to have. The Warriors have a big player coming back on Saturday when they take on the Dolphins, the great James Fisher-Harris. Bunty Afoa, Jackson Ford out injured. North Queensland Cowboys this Saturday, they are playing Manly, and Jake Clifford has gone back to 18th man. Tom Dearden goes to halfback. Zach Labart comes into the centres. Jackson Purdue shifts to 5'8". He was a good performer last weekend, being predicted as being a future international. And Manly are playing North Queensland, as I said. Jake Pravojevic moves to lock. He was prop last week. Jazz Tavanga moves from lock to hooker. Ethan Bullymore goes to prop. Jake Simpkin goes back to the bench. Matthew Lodge is on the reserves list. Cronulla at home to Melbourne. Siosifa Talakai, he is back, but not in the starting side. He's back on the bench. Oregon Kafusi is going to start in place of Tom Hazelton. For Melbourne, Harry Grant is on the reserves list, and he obviously wants to get into Origin too. Tui Kamikamitha, he returns to the Storm, replacing Nelson Asofa Solomona, which is something of a surprise. A big surprise. Brisbane and St George Illawarra Dragons. Ezra Mam's a big one, right? He was on report last week in the Queensland Cup and he's returned from suspension. But he has been picked in first grade this week. For the Dragons, they've had a big loss of Toby Couchman. He's out for a month with a shoulder injury. Jack DeBellin comes into the starting side. Blake Laurie joins the bench. Dylan Egan is in the starting side with Luciano Leilua going back to the bench. And the fellow who made his debut last week, the hotly tipped Loco Pacifica Tonga, he keeps his spot in the squad. They are playing the Broncos, right? So there's a couple of games to go. Bear with me. If you find this stuff boring, I apologise, but it's of interest to a lot of people. It is. Team news. It's massive. So Canberra, Zach Hosking goes from prop to second row. Yeah, that's a bad one. Matty Nicholson, the English import, he's out for a long time. He's out for a while. I'll tell you the nature of his injury in a second, if I can find it. Corey Horsburgh, he's back from concussion, and he comes in at prop. And for the Titans, Philip Summy moves from centre to wing. Jojo Fafita goes from wing to centre. And Kieran Foran is on the bench. Okay, one last game. West Tigers and South Sydney. Stafford Toa comes into the centres with Brett Naden go back to the bench. That's for the Tigers. Jack Bird is also on the bench. Fanua Pole is out. Royce Hunt will start. And for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, you'll hear from Jye Gray very shortly. The great AJ Alex Johnson is back. Only his second game of the year. He replaces Fletcher Myers on the wing. And now Matty Nicholson has a very serious injury, and he's been, what's that expression they use now? Ripping up trees. That's the expression they use. But he has a syndesmosis injury and a break in his fibula. So he is out for, maybe 10 weeks or something, some enormous amount of time. So that's a huge blow to the Raiders and to Matty Nicholson. So there you go. So we're getting pretty close now to our Jye Gray. I think Jye Gray will be up next. Jye Gray's up next after a couple of songs and a couple of ads. And the big thing that he got asked about at his media op at South Sydney a short time ago was the possibility of Brendan Smith joining the Rabbitohs. And when he stops talking about that, you'll hear a swoosh. I only used one swoosh. I was very economic with the swoosh. They don't grow on trees. So after a little break, couple of songs and a couple of ads. Jye Gray. Yeah, sometimes one of my concerns with this show is I don't have enough strident opinions to fill an hour. But I do this morning. I wanted to express my concern about the fact that Steve McNamara might be in trouble for what he said on Saturday after the Challenge Cup semi-final in York. Basically, you might think he was questioning the integrity of the match officials, but nothing he said actually questioned their integrity. He didn't suggest that they had a motive at all. It's you're projecting your opinions onto him if you think he was suggesting that their integrity was in question. He simply questioned the fact that they didn't award a single penalty aside from the opposition kicking out on the full. And he said it was unheard of and it's very hard. Now, previously Steve McNamara got in trouble for repeating something that was said in a club's meeting by Huddersfield that was anti-Catalans. There was never an argument that it wasn't true. Now, if you're going to get sanctioned for saying things that are true in post-match media conferences, then once more, like I said earlier, we're going down the wrong track, and it sends the wrong message. It suggests that the game is anti-truth. The game's got something to hide. Now, okay, if you're going to sanction Steve McNamara for swearing, using a P word or an S word, then which words that you can say on radio in Australia but not in the UK, then fair enough. Then it's got to be policed consistently. It's got to be policed every time, and someone at the RFL has to go through every media conference, and some of them are very hard to get hold of because clubs don't want them filmed. So I disagree unless it's just for swearing. which I'll cop, I disagree vehemently with any sanction against Steve McNamara because he was careful in what he said, aside from apparently dropping one F-bomb. So if you're going to fine him for dropping the F-bomb, fair enough. But if you're going to fine him for simply saying we didn't get a penalty, we didn't get a 6 again, and how is that possible? Then I just think that's ham-fisted because I don't see how that can be applied consistently.
I don't know if we're signing him yet, but if he comes, then he'll be a great addition to our team, and I can't wait to meet him. I just think he brings so much experience, and obviously has a premiership to his name, and he seems like a good bloke to have around the team. Yeah, but he also brings so much to the field. We've been watching him play for however long now, and I think he brings that experience that I think every team can use, and especially us. So he can bring a lot of experience, like I just said. Sorry, but yeah, he's an awesome player and someone that we'll welcome with open arms. I don't think so. I think just having him around, just in general, having him around the boys will be a new addition. It's always nice to get new people in, and I'm sure he'll mould perfect to our culture. Yeah, it's good. Like I said earlier in the year, it was it was Latrell's position, and I was just doing a job, and I'm happy just having a spot in the team at the moment. Yeah, it was awesome. Just being a part of the team, and I only got not long on the field, but having that 12 minutes was awesome. It was a moment that you would cherish forever. Him hitting that 50-metre field goal, and just having that relief at the end of the game that we've won. I think he definitely goes close to it. When he's on his day, he will be the best player in the team, and obviously the best player in the game. He's awesome to have around. Yeah, 100%. He brings like Brendan Smith. He brings that experience, and then he brings the confidence. I think that's a massive one. Obviously having him in the team, he just makes the play, but he also brings everyone else up with him. So he's awesome to have. Yeah, definitely. He as a Queenslander, we don't want him being selected in the New South Wales team. That's for sure. He said just have belief. He said that we weren't clicking, but it was going to come, and everyone in our team had belief, and that's the reason we got the job done. I came over and I just saw an opportunity here. I was given an opportunity, to come over, and obviously got to have a look around the club, and I thought it was an awesome club to join, and they gave me an opportunity that I'll be forever grateful for. I was pretty fixed on playing rugby league. I went to a union-based school on the Gold Coast, but that was about it in my union experience. I was always loved the game of rugby league from a young age. Yeah, it was a bit of relief. I think it was crucial. It would get us back on the right path. I think with everything. We started the season strong, and then had a couple losses there, and then just getting that one in a tight win is always for sure. They come off a bit of a beating, and we know that they won't be that team again this week. They'll come, and we'll have to play better than we did in the first half against the Broncos if we want to beat them. Yeah, for sure. They've got star-studded players all around the team, and like I just said, I think that they'll be very hard to beat.
Hello, everybody, and as promised, by the way, we're giving you score updates from Newcastle and Gold Coast, but we'll have a little break from that because we've got a very special guest, the coach of England, Shaun Wane. Shaun, how are you?
Yeah, good, Steve. How are you, mate?
I'm hanging in there, mate. I'm watching a lot of football with Magic last weekend, and now all these games on TV. Shaun, there's so many things we could ask you about, but the fresh thing is AJ Brimson changing his eligibility yesterday to England. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, good. He's a talented player, and like the rest of my England squad, he'll be considered. And I watch all the NRL games. I'm very impressed. He's a good player. So, did he make this move out of a belief that he has an opportunity with England? Have you had communications with him? No, not yet. I spoke to his agent I don't know how many times. I've had many messages from him previous to him getting qualified for England. So, I've not spoken to the player himself. I've just spoken to his agent, but I know he's keen to play for England.
How many? I mean, that's interesting. We don't, I guess, think too much about player agents trying to get their clients in representative teams. It's not something we think about too much. But is it actually very common?
Not really. No, it's not. I've not had it many times. When Victor Radley wanted to play for England, he rang me himself, which really impressed me. And he told me himself he was really keen. So, that was a way to do it. I was very impressed with how Victor handled it.
Right. So, would you like to hear from AJ himself shortly?
Oh, that's up to AJ. It's up to his agent and AJ. The only thing I'm concentrating on at the minute, Steve, is watching all my players in the NRL and watching all the England players in Super League and concentrating, making sure I have a squad strong enough to challenge Australia in October. What
do you make of the ruling that nines sort of doesn't count as far as eligibility, that players who represented in nines can switch between Tier 1 countries? Is that a good ruling?
To be honest, I don't think about that, about players what's eligible and rulings and what competitions qualify and all that sort of thing. I just look at very simply who's available to me and can they play in a team what can be potentially Australia, and I'll look at it as simple as that. Just concentrate on the things I'm in control of. Before we let you go, can you just tell us where you're up to with your preparations for the Ashes? As far as squads being named, training camps, train-on squads, all that sort of stuff. Where are you up to there? Yeah, well, we have squad get-togethers, off-feet sessions. We can't get the players on the field. The Super League season's that congested. I did agree with all the owners and CEOs to have 3 two-day camps, but it's looking that congested this season that we're not going to get that, which is unfortunate. But getting the players together for an off-feet session, the players are watching video and we're discussing ways of what we can do to make sure that we can challenge Australia in October. So them off-feet sessions, Steve, are very, very good, very enjoyable, and we're making progress.
So you say you're not going to get your 2-day camps. You're going to get 1 2-day camp, or you won't actually get them?
We won't get the players together until we meet in October, which is really, really frustrating and really unfortunate. But it's of no fault of any Super League team. The owners and the CEOs and the coaches have been really, really helpful to me. It's just I know what it's like to coach a Super League team, and when your season's really congested, the one thing you don't want to lose is your best players on a 2-day camp. So we're not looking like we can fit it in.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. One more thing, mate, and we do appreciate you coming on at such short notice. Is just your reaction to the overwhelming ticket sales so far. It's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming, Steve, I'll be honest with you. Everton's a big stadium. Everything's not nowhere near as big, but the atmosphere at Everton is going to be fantastic. Selling Everton out was fantastic, and when I was up at the Magic in Newcastle last week, I know Wembley is really, really doing well on sales, so I never expected it to be so good, but it just shows you what the power of having the Australian team coming over here the first time for 20 odd years, and we've not won the Ashes for 50 odd years, so it's got everybody's juice flowing over here, and we can't wait to see a fantastic team like Australia over here.
Shaun, as I said, it's so nice of you to join us at short notice, and we look forward to talking to you again during the year.